So I think you're just gonna go for this cool little Zora.
I can't because I have to get the chest.
You can get it out.
You got it afterward.
What? No. How do you get it afterward?
After the fairy fountain.
Oh, true. Oh, I forgot. I didn't even realize you can get it after. I was gonna go get it now and then like, it's fine. Okay, but yeah, you can climb this like that. There's a fast way to do it, but I was thinking about that. I'm gonna recoil in there and equip these things because we're gonna use them for something.
I'm trying to get through to you, break and make you fall. Know everything you wanted. Just see how far you really come. Wake up, baby, feel the sun. I'm trying, I'm trying, I'm trying, I'm trying to break you out of your own mind. I'm trying, I'm trying, I'm trying, I'm trying. Let's go back to being 17 before
my mind closed, my eyes, where am I? Bumpy ride, looking out across the sky. As the wind blows in my face, there is water, water everywhere. How did I get here? Who is that man over there? My mind is blinded, is this all just a dream? Sails and rudder on the ship, rum and beer, I'll take a drink, and tomorrow I won't remember a thing. Sails and rudder on the ship, rum and beer, I'll take a drink, and tomorrow I will be hungover. What have I done? Can someone remind me? 'Cause to me this soul is just a blur. The last thing that I remember is a party, then nothing else. How did I get here? Who is that man over there? Will I ever find out? It's all just a dream. Tell myself, never will I do this again. Tell myself, it's not worth it. Tell myself no, but who cares? 'Cause tonight I will party. Sails and rudder on the ship, rum and beer, I'll take a drink, and tomorrow I won't remember a thing. Sails and rudder on the ship, rum and beer, I'll take a drink, and tomorrow I will be hungover.
Hello everyone, I'm back. I've got a nice hat. It's Saturday and I thought, well, it's a nice day outside to do some coding. Well, inside because it's very hot outside. How are you guys doing? I've been away for a while. Hope you missed me because I missed you, the community. So yet again, I'm an amateur of this streaming things. I have to get my groove on after a nice holiday. So I'm a bit flabbergasted about the configuration again. I'm actually glad that my stream is so far going as well with the configuration, because most of the time I have technical problems with audio and etc. So let's see if we can get this party started. So, play some music. Let's get this show on the road. Hi friends in the chat room. Jan, my friend, how you doing? Hope you're well. So yeah, I was away. Went a bit of a holiday and a bit of a non-tech break. Hopefully I'll be streaming more often now. I'm gonna take it easy for a while. Yeah, so I don't know if I missed a few things, but what I've done, very like in a stealth mode, I was working on a project, long ago. I called it .NET AZ, and that was initially the idea was to use YAML to be able to code in YAML, smart YAML, and then have your a tool called the .NET AZ generate Azure ARM templates from that. Now the problem with that is reaching out to the community, most of the people don't really like YAML. Now that's a bit of a silly thing, but also an unpopular opinion. I'm gonna get my music a bit softer because I cannot hear myself. Can I do this? Is that fine? That should be fine. Yeah, so I was thinking the one day, I was like, you know what, we are .NET developers. Why can't we just party on .NET for Azure ARM? Yes, I know there are other tools out there like Pulumi and that kind of things, but they are not .NET. And yes, there is the Azure.NET SDK, but that does not generate ARM templates. You can deploy Azure resources with that, and it's a beautiful tool. You can use the AZ CLI to deploy things, but none of those tools support generating Azure ARM templates. So that got me thinking, and also I've also given a talk on Roslyn that forced me to learn more about Roslyn, and that got me thinking of, you know what, let's make it possible to author as .NET developers. Let's author our templates in .NET, and with the power of Roslyn and .NET strongly typed and some diagnostic analyzers, we can actually make the things light up more, and then it's in source control. You get all those benefits, and the cool thing is when you build it, it spits out an ARM template that you would have written by hand anyway. So you've got the backing of .NET and still the awesomeness and the, how can I say, the best practice of deploying ARM templates. So Jan is in the chat room. I hope he sort of agrees with me at that point. Jan is a expert in serverless and cloud, so he has his opinion about certain things, and I'm actually glad he's in the chat to talk to us about normal things. So he won't be participating, but I'm actually glad he's here, so that we can actually have a chat on what I've built, and I'm actually excited to show you guys what I've built so far. So let me see. Is everything alright? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my screen as it is, because it's not really I'm not going to switch to like a movie or anything. So if you guys want to grab the bits, the name is still .NET AZ, but just disclaimer, I'm going to be changing this to Armor. So the new name for this project is called Armor. And the idea is that you can call it in multiple ways. You can use this in multiple ways. You can use this as a .NET global tool. For instance, you can go Armor, whatever, Armor, and then give your assembly name, and then it will scan that assembly for certain types and then generate an ARM template from that. Or you can use it as a project specific tool. So if you have a project already and you want to use it as a project specific tool and not a global tool, you can still do that as well. And the cool thing about that is, unlike global tools you have to install before, the project specific tools, the project specific CLI tools, comes with your project. So if someone git clones your project and just runs it, it will download that tool, and that tool can be used as build steps automatically, so you don't have to sort of download it beforehand. And I think the last one is just a normal console application. I'm not sure. I have to double check on that. So this is basically what we have here, and I'm just actually gonna see if I have the code somewhere. There's .NET AZ still here. So, and also I think because I've been away a while, I'm gonna do a git clone. No, not git clone, sorry, git pull. Okay, so that should pull down the stuff. So Jan says in the chat, loving the idea, really disliked the typing the JSON or YAML myself. Using C# will be definitely useful, so I'm glad he agrees with me. Also, I can't also, yeah, he also says he can't stay for so long, but that's fine. I'm also just planning on not to take it too far. Maybe a half an hour stream is fine. The idea is just to show you and say hi. I'm not away forever. I'm just away for for a bit, and just to maybe give you sort of a teaser on what I've been doing and what is coming from my side. So without further ado, I think let's just open this guy in Visual Studio, if I can find it. Is this? Yeah. It's a bit confusing because these are not updated. Oh no, it is updated. So everything should be in the source directory. The other stuff that you see don't go there. It's really like, actually I should show you here. So these other stuff here on the root level is I think my stream fell away now. Well, there we go. The things on the root are just play things, but the official things I try to keep it in the source directory, and I try to keep it kind of clean, you know. So let's see if that happens. Let me see. I'm getting a advanced menu. Disable load latency mode. Okay. Now how do I do this? Advanced. Okay. Let's see if this works. Is my video buggy or hanging or something? Because I've moved offices in the meanwhile, and I have not really had time to wire my connection. Just gonna quickly see if I'm boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's the ad. Should be fine. I think it's fine. If my stream is like buggy or if I look like a potato, just shout on the chat, and then yeah, there we go. All right, so Visual Studio, is this open? So let's see. We've got the Armor, and we've got Armor Console. And the idea was that this Armor Console is the actual program that's built with I think it's Nate McMaster's Nate McMaster, sorry, is a command line utils. So it's just a normal command line util library, and when it runs, it takes in an argument and an output directory. So the argument is required, and that's the assembly file name. And what it does, it basically reads the assembly, it scans it for all the templates that's ARM templates, and then it just generates the ARM templates from there as if you would have written yourself. And then we have a layer above that, which is the core. So the core is actually, or beneath that, the core is the generation part. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but this is the generation part. So you don't have to worry about this. Let me just see if I can find the proper sample to give you a cool idea how this will work. So I've got some samples. Will this work? I wonder if I actually is. Okay. So I've got the sample built into the program one for now. So when I run my tool, it will scan itself. Just want to see if that happens. I need to pass in projects, arguments. Let me see. Just want to quickly rebuild this project to see if there's any problems. There's already a problem. No, I need to install .NET Core. Okay, well, for those that know how to install .NET Core, let's quickly show you. These things happen. Oh no, let's quickly, should I download it? Let's download it and see what happens. Let's get the core preview bits. Let's see. I need this one. Yeah. Then I have it. This is now, yeah, this .NET Core was not on my streaming PC. Too bad. But while that's downloading, this is an example on how you can use your, how you can author a template, for instance. Okay. So it starts with a class. So it's a normal class. Don't have to worry about public, private, or whatever, as long as it inherits from the ARM template base class. Okay. And then in here you can do basically whatever you want, but this ARM template base class, you need to override at least the resources function. And the resources function accepts a resources builder that you can use to add resources to. And then optionally, you can override like the parameters and all sorts of other things. Let me show you what I mean. ARM template. Still called deployment template. But yeah, you see this is abstract. And the rest are optional, so it's virtual. So you can override them as well, because you might not even need parameters or variables or functions or outputs, right? So that's the idea. Okay, so in this example, I'm just like adding a web app and a storage account. So this version does not support out-of-the-box web apps, but you can totally add your own, you know. It supports, for this version, I have the little alpha experimental version. It only supports a storage account just for the proof of concept. But the idea is that you can still add your own, and I'm planning to ship the basic coverage of Azure. It's going to be hard to sort of stay up to date. So the idea is not to reinvent the wheel, have the community bring in their own little types, but you can also totally write your own. Because a resource is just a base class, so you can just inherit from that resource. So in any case, so on the builder, to add a storage account, if it's built in, you can just say .add storage account, and the logic that's built into this storage account will be fixed, but you can extend it, you know, like the open close principle. You can then, by default, it sets the type as I think it's storage accounts. whatever. I think it's storage accounts. Let me just see. I don't know where the storage account is. I'll just find it in a sec. But it sets the name as a default, and it sets defaults in that class. And you know, if you want your foo storage account type, by all means, you can make a food storage account, just inherit then from the storage account, or even from the resource, and then just do your own thing. And this pattern that I've implemented, well, you can call it a pattern if you really want. It's amazing because it's based on the builder, so you can just do the builder thing. And let's say, for example, in this case, where the web app wasn't supported, I've quickly built my own, and I inherited from resource. And then I set the type and all the overrides, what it needs to do, and I can just use it, you know. In this case, it's used the instance way or the typed way. So the typed way, I can just pass in the type and it will instantiate itself. But if you really don't want to bother, just the basics, you can do this, and you can build your own one, you know, using a normal Poco class kind of thing. What happened now? I heard something happen. Yeah, something is happening. I don't know what. I just heard a sound. Should I be concerned? I don't know. But I heard a sound, and thank you for someone that I think was doing something. But normally I get... I'm not as fancy as Jeff Fritz with his little stream. I'm working towards that. So if someone sort of subscribes, thank you very much. I do not know when that happens, because I don't know if my things actually pop up on the screen. But in any case, if you subscribed and I have not thanked you, please just ping me on the chat. I'm terribly sorry. I don't know how these things work out of the bat. Oh, I've got a follower actually. That's what happened. Helmer, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it, man. Okay, continue. Where was I? This web app. So you can do a normal Poco class, and then in this case, I gave it a name. Gave it some tags. You know, imagine this could be your company's web app template. You can ship it as a NuGet package, and it would automatically have base base policies in place for the tags and all that kind of stuff in place, so that whenever someone is using this tool to create a web app, they can just install the NuGet package and just add the full web app type, for instance, to the resources, and then bam, there we go. And then even the templates can be authored as NuGet packages, of course, and just be added to a empty project as a NuGet package, and then build a project, and it will maybe give it parameters, and there we go. But that, I think that goes a bit too far in my opinion. So what can we do other than .NET in this case? Let me just quickly see how far the .NET thing is going. I think this is needing to install. And it's taking its time like normally. Okay, right, install. Hopefully I won't have to exit Visual Studio, then I have to open up. So what's up with this music? How do you all like my hat? I got this hat made by a great, I don't know what the company is called. Wait, let me see. Company is called, I have no idea. Oh yeah, Style Spectrum Custom Graphics. Big ups to Style Spectrum. I was on holiday in Portugal, and I saw these guys with a little booth they had at these children pool play area. It's kind of a water world kind of thing. And this guy was making these awesome caps, and immediately I was thinking about Jeff Fritz and Brady Gaster and all these caps. I'm not a cap person, so hopefully I don't look too bad in this guy. But yeah, so bye Jan. So I thought, well, how about a Visual Studio hat? Because, you know, let's up for the challenge. And I gave him the logo. He's like, sure. And he did this cool hat for me, man. That's awesome. So this doesn't scale. You can't just go and I can't just give you the link and you can go get your own. But this is my special hat, and I'm so grateful for this. I'm going to use this from the stream when I'm going to be streaming again. So yeah, that's quite cool. Hopefully my hat doesn't look too bad. Alright, so .NET Core 3 almost installed. So let's just go back to the code. Where was I? So for instance, if we add, let's say we have so we have parameters. So let's say we are using this parameter somewhere in our template. It's fine. But if we're not using this, let's say we've got foo. For instance, let's say the name here was, you know, parameters, and you can totally do this still. This renders as JSON, so you can still do this. Let's say foo. This is valid, right? So, but there's no way in this time to in this stage. So if I make a spelling mistake, like parameters with 2 R's, it will still render that way, but it will break in a schema, it will break somewhere else in Azure. So the idea of Roslyn, where Roslyn comes in, so Roslyn is the .NET compiler platform, gives you like analyzers, it's that little light bulb you see in Visual Studio, right? If I don't define this, it should underlie, say, you know what, if I, for instance, have this is fine, right? But if I, for instance, don't have this, or, you know, if I don't have that, for instance, I would like to see a green squiggly, you know, pop up there to say, hey, you've defined foo, but foo does not exist in your parameters that you need to expose, you know. And then I'm expecting to see like a little light bulb, and when you click that light bulb, it should add this line. And that's the kind of things you can start doing with Roslyn and this programming model, if you want to call it a programming model, but this way of authoring .NET templates. I was also toying around with ways of, you know, making this a function, but I think that goes too far. But of course, if you want to generate this on your own function, by all means. So if you for instance have a, will this work? That's a constant. So if we, for instance, have a something's happening. Get cool name, you know. You have that. That won't work. Oh, it will. So if you have private static get string get cool name, and that returns that. That's also valid, right? So you can totally do that. The question is, do you really want to, and what's the benefit of it? But yeah, that's the idea. So yeah, I don't know if it's me, but the chat is very quiet out there. Hopefully my broadcast is fine. I don't know, hopefully. Hopefully it's fine. Okay, so where are we with the .NET installed? So it has been installed. Quickly close Visual Studio and open it up again. It's funny because this title of the stream is called I'm Back, Let's Code, but we're not really coding, we're just giving, like, we're just chatting, really. Actually, I almost have to go, but yeah. So let's see if I can compile this, and I would like to show you guys how, at least, how this works from a practical standpoint, you know. I don't know if I even have to open up Visual Studio. Oh, Shoot, now it's opening 2017. No! Close it, I don't want to do that. Close. Darn it. Let's open VS. VS, I actually have it open. No, that's the old one. This one. Okay, let's see. Darn. Open up. This one. Boom. Okay. While that's happening, I think my stream is a bit... So far, the bitrate is fine. I'm just checking the stats on my stream, before we lose control of our situation. Okay, so that works. Nice. So in this case now, so imagine I run this now. This will break, right? So when I run this tool, of course I've got to give this a startup.
Sometimes when you're here, I can feel no doubt, 'cause you keep me where the stars are bound.
So the assembly file name is required. So I'm just going to give it self because actually let's just do this. Let's do a new class library. So call it sample. Create. Just a syntactic sugar. I'm gonna move this guy to here. Okay, put this guy there. Save, and it will break because it needs to have dependency. So obviously this will be a NuGet package. I was also toying around with the idea that you can use the SDK way of doing it. Jumping around a lot, I know, but I need to show you this awesomeness. I think here is a sample. Sample. Okay, so imagine you have this. You have armored tasks, and that's it. That's it. What you need for your actually less. I'm actually very interested to see if this will work. So you have a CS proj like this. Okay. Just point to the SDK, right? And what's in this SDK? Let's just open up this folder and see. So what's in here is this template. I'm just going to kill this template, this JSON file, and we have this class, right? And this still works on the old way, meaning it still has this attribute kind of thing, but it's the same. It gives you the same idea what I mean. This is more like a this example is a more complex one. While that's busy downloading. You still have these parameters and variables and functions and resources thing. You still have that. But the cool thing is, note there's no JSON file, right? if I go now .NET build, and it breaks. Okay, whatever that means, I'm just going to switch to it. Okay, so it now has a problem. Okay, now I need to switch .NET Core to 2.2. How do I do that? I think it's, of course, install .NET Core 3, and this one is only supporting 2.2. It's the older one. Is it runtime? What is it? Framework. Yeah. So it's F. I think it's Net Core. Net Standard. No, Net. Will that be? Come on. How do I specify the framework or the SDK version? Hey, there's something. There's something. This one. Global JSON. I think that's still supported, right? Yes. Let's do a global JSON. Create a global JSON. So a global JSON, and this global JSON will be this. This 2.2 should be fine. And now, when I do a build, okay, then I use this version. It's quite cool how they show you the versions. This version, so we can update it there. Okay, so let's do a build. So it's building. It's failing. It's not compatible with .NET Core App 2.2. Now it says 3 again. What? Maybe it's a specific 3. That's a bit silly. Yeah, of course, build it with the wrong version. Hey, something happens. Invalid framework identifier. Okay. And what I had here, I had that. Okay, maybe this is needed for some reason. Because previously, I think this wasn't needed. So we have, was it property group? I just actually go undo changes. Can I do that? The magic of Git. Boom. Now if I go back, what's this? Oh, that's solution level. Okay, so now it should work. Hopefully. Also not. 2.2 supports 3. Okay, fine. But where do I change this? Okay, the problem is a bit somewhere else. Don't have time to figure out that now. So, in any case, going back. That, in any case, when you generate that, it should spit out the JSON file. So let's see on Armor itself. Back to our sample. Let's quickly rebuild it using this simpler thing. Well, actually, let's see if this will work. If I copy this, because this is using the old one. I can totally do this. So control dot armor to have parameters. Let's do a that. Okay, so I have parameters now. Variables, let's put a few variables in. Public override variables. Would be cool if it can do that. Alright. Functions, yeah, probably could do functions if we want. Override functions. Give me a builder. Oh. And it would be cool to have your opinion on how things are set up here. Okay, so we've got functions, we've got a web app there. Control that guy. Let's throw in everything, man. Let's throw in everything. This is a way of showing multiple ways of defining a resource, a storage account, for instance. This way I override a name, otherwise it just chooses a random name. Or I can pass in an instance, give my name and a version, because the version is also inferred from the type, because the version in the ARM template is required. I believe it should not be required, it should be inferred, but in any case, the popular opinion. Okay, so now technically this is a typical ARM template. Alright, so this is the idea is for this to live in its own little project. And the moment you build this, so let's quickly grab the DLL for this. So rebuild this and see if this works. If you hear some dogs barking, that's not my dogs. I don't know where they are. Puppies. Alright, so now we have a DLL sample. I want sample. Okay, so I can go and how do I get the full path of this guy? Okay, now in my tool that runs, excuse me, I just want to see if everything should be fine. Yep. In my tool that runs, guys, if you have questions, just pop it on the chat here. I think it should be fine. So when my tool runs, I want to be able to pass my argument to it as if I would have. Let's actually run this guy. Okay, so the idea is that you can go CMD. Let's make a folder, or let's go to my sandbox. We make one called armor. Okay, so I'm gonna make this my output directory. So now if I go armor, it will say, you know, your assembly file is needed. So then I pass in the path of the assembly file, and that should be armor sample.dll. And my output, I think it's O, is that's optional. So I'm just going to say sandbox armor or that. So if I execute this now, it did its thing. Did you notice what happened there? So it created a test template. Amazing. So let's quickly see how this works. So let's open up the test template. in Visual Studio Code. Why not throw it in there? The cool thing is, this was generated from your assembly. You know, 3 resources, storage account with the right version and the website, etc. with the function and the variables and all that kind of jazz. This is epic stuff. I believe this is epic stuff. The workflow going forward could be as easy as the following. So let's say we have a let me see if I can maybe make that better. Let's open up a folder. That is in Visual Studio Code, so we can do anything we want really. Open up a folder and we can go to we can go to our AZCLI thing. I think it's this one. Select folder. So now, by all means. Oh, not the right one. Sorry. Wrong one. I need to open a sample. Okay, so the workflow going forward could be the following. Okay, you could have, I'm just gonna have it output on this directory because maybe it'd just be easier, I would say. Or maybe let's just see if we can open up a file. Open up the file. This could be the, someone is like drilling. Okay, so what we can do is we can go to Armor. Someone is drilling outside. So we have this file. This is the output file. Alright, so I'm gonna maybe just put it next there and close this one here. Oh, doesn't matter. Put this there and close this guy there. So on the right is your template and on the left is your code. Okay, so imagine I open up the terminal. This is my workflow, right? So then I can execute this path. So first I have to go there for my purposes. So I can execute this command, right? So and it will change the file. But it would be cool if I can go .NET watch and then, you know, when you, I wonder if this will work though, because Armor is not, yeah, it should work. And then this. Okay, so when I run this, okay, I don't have .NET Watch installed. Can it be? Come on, really? It's there. Did I spell it incorrectly? Most probably watch CH. What? Yeah. Could not find MS build project file in blah. Specify. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Then I can just do this. Where am I now? CD. Oh, this is console. I need to sample. So go back. CD Armor sample. And then now That should work, right? Okay, so now what just started, it cannot find the command file name. So because the things are not in the same directory, it's messing up. So what I can do is just give this the fully qualified name for now, where that lives. That's not the end of the world. We could do that. Actually have it open here. We have it open here somewhere. Come on, this guy. Have to specify the fully qualified domain name. Okay, so here I'm gonna paste this in there, /. So now what's happening here? So every time .NET Watch is gonna watch my code, any changes, it's gonna call this exe and pass in this parameter. Okay, so technically it does not need to, I think, pass in the whole thing. We can just pass in the relative path of, really? We just pass in the relative path, I believe, of that. Okay, so if I execute this, hopefully it will work. Okay. What could not execute because specified command file wasn't found? Armor does exist. Does exist. Why doesn't it exist? It must exist. exe. Okay, so it tries to run that. Why? That's a bit silly. So console bin debug free. This one. Why is it not working? Badge image example. What? So what's the problem? It's supposed to work. Couldn't load file assembly debug. The module expected to contain an assembly manifest. Okay. This thing is not self-contained. Let's see if we can maybe fix this with a self-contained version. Or just go publish. I would say just go publish. .NET publish. Just publish this, man. Publish. Let's publish this. So now I should not get that bad image exception. Hopefully. Release. That's there. Debug. Publish. Okay. So now this is the new path of this guy. So I need to replace this with that. Please work. Still, it's so silly. In any case, it would be cool to sort of do that. Why does that want to work? It was expected to have a assembly file. Does not make sense. assembly manifest, but that does not make sense. Why? Any case, I don't know why. So, on that note, can't show you because it's not a global tool, is it? .NET. Is Armor anyway a global tool? AZ? No. Not on this machine, I believe. It's not a global tool on this machine. No. Darn it. I don't have time to do that now. Maybe in the next stream we can maybe party along with that. But the idea was to show you whenever it runs, so it watches for code changes, and as you make code changes in your code and you save, .NET Watch kicks in and it compiles your project, and it spits out a new JSON file. And that was the idea, so that you can actually in live see what's happening. One of the arguments I was also thinking of adding is an image argument, because it's always handy to have a visual representation of your code, and that can be a DGML. Am I saying it right? A DGML graph. That's just XML. I mean, we can totally render that, same as JSON. Instead of spitting out JSON, we can spit out a graph of the resources. So, if you like this tool, let me know in the comments below, YouTube or Twitch or whatever. Subscribe to my channel, and then yeah, let me see. Subscribe to my channel and see if we can build a awesome project or product or whatever you want to call it, a tool for .NET developers to author Azure ARM templates in .NET. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. It was like an ad hoc decision to Let's Code. I've been away for a while, and I've said hello. The gist of the thing is that I'm back, and I'm never going anywhere soon. So hope you enjoyed this hour-long show, and enjoy your Saturday. It's going to be very hot, guys, in the Netherlands. Put on some sunscreen, and yeah, enjoy your day, and thanks for watching. Bye.